So, man, when I was in Oklahoma City, they had a couple different items that I hadn't seen before. And then it was the squat bar that I texted you about.
Oh, the Mars bar.
The Mars bar. Because then I saw that there. I'm like, what is the purpose of this? And I saw it on the website.
Looks like a jetpack.
Looks like a jetpack. And then I saw it on the website. And then I saw a video of you using it. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, like what's the purpose of the Mars bar?
Yeah. So in general, there's a lot of different thoughts on a safety squat bar and why you should use one. But mostly it comes to like shoulder and elbow pain. So a lot of people, when they start squatting, they grip the bar funky and the bar's like in the arms instead of on the back. So you want the load in the back, but sometimes it's like in the arms. And they'll end up with elbow tendonitis, or like their shoulder will be irritated. Or if you just grab like a random 45, 50-year-old guy off the street and you try to get him in position, he actually can't get under it. And so this is like time and experience in my favor. I would have 10 years ago, let's be honest, 2016, when I opened my gym, I would have said, no, you have to try to get under this bar, right? And I would shove the people under there. And there's some evidence that if you just make yourself get under there, then this stuff kind of opens up over time. But a lot of times what would happen is as the weight of the bar went up, they'd start to experience a ton of like pain in the elbow and the shoulder. And so finally I realized like, oh, these people are the candidates for a safety squat bar. Because if you put it here, the hands here, now you take all of this upper body out from supporting the bar, and then you can still train them heavy. And so the problem with a lot of the safety squat bars is it's like a huge pad. And so the bar gets even higher up on your back. And so if the bar's higher up on the back, you have a more vertical back angle, you load less of your hips, so less muscle mass involved. So if the goal is to get stronger, especially like who's using most of these things besides Grant, like a 50-year-old guy that has issues, and he has issues because he hasn't trained like, in his whole life maybe. And so we want to get him stronger. That's the number one goal. So with the Mars bar, it's the same deal. It fixes the hand, shoulder, elbow situation, but the bar's still low on the back. It's still like a low bar position. It's actually lower than a low bar position. So like I can squat more on a Mars bar than I can on a regular bar. So for me, what I have found for me is I had hurt my shoulder last year and I was like kind of rehabbing through it, and I kept trying to do it. And finally I was like, I'm just not going to low bar squat. So I went to Mars bar only to like let my shoulder get better. And then as I've reintroduced it back, every time, like I can squat 5x5. I did it last, or maybe 2 weeks ago. I think when I was in Texas, I did 5x5 low bar. It was fine, but like some stuff kind of ached and tingled. And so what I've been doing is like maybe every third squat workout, I've been doing the Mars bar. Okay. Just to like stress things less and give it a little bit of a break. Cause I think if you're lifting like you are now, right? Deadlifting 435, like when you're deadlifting 225 at a body weight of 225, you can make a mistake and it doesn't really matter. But as you get stronger, like it's great. You're more durable, but also if you make a mistake, it's a little bit more costly. So now I'm like, most of the time I do my 5x5 squat day on a Mars bar, just to alleviate all that pain. And then on the day that I squat like my heaviest, like a high intensity day, I'll go to the low bar. So I maintain that skill. But I used to think like, oh, who needs a safety squat bar? Just do a regular bar. And now I'm like, oh, there's definitely a place for this in your training.
So you kind of go to it like whenever, like, hey, I kind of tweak something. I need to take a little break from this. Let's introduce this for a couple workouts.
That's how I used to do it. Now I'm like, hey, I realize if I train hard for 12 weeks on a straight bar, 5x5 every Monday, really heavy intensity on Friday, at some point in that, maybe it's week 8, maybe it's week 10, I will tweak something. So now I'm like, hey, this week all straight bar. Next week, my 5x5 day, I'm going to do Mars bar. I'm going to do the next.
So it's it's preventative now.
Yeah, keep it. Yes, that's exactly how I'm using it. Thank you.
Okay.
I didn't know how to say that word.
It's all right. It's a big word. So
it's a big one.
Do you do the same weight on that, or do you do
a little bit higher?
Okay.
So a Mars bar weighs 65 pounds, but what I found is I think the other week I experimented with this. I think I did 375 on the Mars bar for 5 sets of 5. And then when I went to warm up for 5x5 the next week on a straight bar, I was like, I'm not doing 380, which technically add 5 pounds on your volume day. And I think I did like 360. So it's not like way off, but it's definitely advantageous to the lifter.
If only I knew someone or someplace that sold those. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, where could I get one of those? That sounds nice.
They're back in stock.
www.thestrength.co.
Trade a couple ranch waters and then you might see a order pop up.
A couple of ranch waters and a St. Barbara's medal and
Papa's getting a new squat bar.